that we have to really understand. Can I use this? Now, as I said earlier, this is the biotechnology, biotechnology industry which deploys biodiversity as a strategic economic resource. We tend to take biodiversity for granted. We do not realize that flora or fauna around us, ये चरिंद परिंद जो हमारे इर्द-गिर्द है, we take them for granted. We do not realize that they pose an important economic resource. But biotechnology industry, they do understand that they can actually, explore this traditional knowledge and actually draw from it and get it patent and make a lot of money out of it. So this is what we call biopiracy. Biopiracy, unlike other forms of piracy, is a legal piracy. It is a piracy which takes place through patents, right? Now, according to a study in India in 2000, out of nearly 5,000 plant patents by companies in US, 80% came from India and Pakistan. So there are thousands and thousands of patents which are granted to companies in US because either we are not aware of the extent of piracy of our biological resources, or it is too expensive for us to actually hold them accountable, because cancelling a patent takes a lot of money and energy. So what is a patent? Patent is actually an exclusive right granted for a product for a commercial use. You can make a lot of money out of this only if you patent it. So this is the concept of the patent. But the trouble begins when you apply this rule of patenting a product like this, which is a product of a human creative mind, to species, to objects which are naturally recurring in nature. यानी एक बहुत बुनियादी फर्क है कि अगर इस कंपनी ने ये बोतल नहीं बनाई होती तो शायद ये बोतल नेचर में एग्जिस्ट नहीं करती, लेकिन जब एक चीज़ एक प्लांट है, जब वो नेचर वीट है या कॉटन है, जब वो नेचर में एग्जिस्ट करता है और एक कंपनी अगर उसको जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाई करके उसकी एक एडवांस की वैरायटी क्रिएट करके ये कहे कि nobody else has the right to sell it except us, so that would mean that you are depriving the entire community of farmers over generations, over hundreds of years, that's thousands of years. जो wheat है वो तो मोहनजोदाड़ो हड़प्पा में भी काश्त होता था. So you are depriving all that knowledge, discounting it, making a monopoly control over it. So this is at the heart of what I think is the Plant Breeder Right Act bill that I will say. It creates a monopoly mechanism for commercial exploitation against individual collective right of a community to make best use of their traditional art. So that is the kind of dilemma that we think we have are facing. Now these are only 3 of the very famous cases. There are more than 10, 15 very famous cases of biopiracy through patents. Basmati, turmeric, neem, as you know, it took India 10 years to actually cancel this patent on turmeric, which was acquired by a company in US. So this is where, in this context, probably Pakistan did not have to do much, because India did understood that India and Pakistan, they shared a they have a shared biodiversity sphere. So if they are actually doing this fight, we get by default we get a lot of help. Very quickly, because I expect Ismail Saab to say more about it, so I am going to leave this, but this is quickly are the legal instruments of intellectual property rights worldwide. Patents, trademark, trade secrets, geographical indications, plant breeder rights and copyrights. So I think friends will actually say more about it. Now, what is, as I said, a plant breeder right? You have to understand that plant breeder right is to be contrasted with farmer rights. Why as I will finish with this, our quick criticism of the bill, where you understand that it is really not right to claim give the sole credit to the breeder of a seed rather than to the grower, who is actually probably borrowing seed from somebody else. So this exclusive right given to a plant breeder and calling this entire bill as a plant breeder right is very, very problematic. Now, we, as you have to understand that these plant breeder rights are not the creation of Pakistan government, or it is not even the creation of this developing world. It is an agenda that has international connections, has come from above. Why Pakistan government has to, in a way, be probably cruel to its own farmers, unless they are being arm-twisted by the international agencies that we are doing. So I think governments have to understand that while they are being arm-twisted by the international sort of regimes, at the same time they have to really listen to the people and the farmers and the district local industry through its various sort of mechanisms. Now, I'll give you a quick example, and then I'm going to just kind of wind it up. Now, if you look at the plant breeders bill, as we will see in detail by this presentation, by the next presentation, whereas, very interestingly, plant breeders bill जो है, वो cite करता है international obligations. वो ये कहता है कि TRIPS जो है, उसकी वजह से हम मजबूर हैं कि हम ये सारे कानून यहाँ पर लाएं कि जो शायद हमारे नेशनल इंटरेस्ट में नहीं है. Now what my sort of finding is कि if this bill selectively quotes TRIPS को तो quote करता है, but it does not quote CBD. What is CBD? CBD, as we will see later, they were lured into this trap that BT cotton is going to give them a lot more money. So they were indebted heavily. They got into big debt. So when they were not able to cope with it, they killed themselves. So I do believe that जिस space पे ये काम चल रहा है, if there's not of sufficient public discussion, not in the sense कि भाई हम जैसे मैंने अगले पॉइंट में कहा है कि we need to create this awareness on what hazard it has. And mind you, there is, as my friends will tell us more, there is a National Biosafety Committee as well, a federal committee which is comprising of certain very highly qualified individuals who will actually give license to a GM crop or not. But the point of the matter is one federal body enough? Can we give our entire sort of agriculture future to the whims or, if you like, the judgment of select few members? No. I think what we need to do is to have more of these events like these, bring a lot more stakeholders into discussion, and hold this amendment, which I believe has to have the very fundamental changes. PBR nomenclature should be revised from plant breeder right to plant breeders and farmer rights as well. It has to be rephrased because it gives a very false impression कि आप breeder कौन है? सारे breeder multinationals हैं. Monsanto is one big breeder. So कहने का मकसद यह है कि you are giving too much credit to these corporations, which will ultimately come and hurt you. And you are then governments has to face this this masses of desperate poor flooding to urban areas, increasing this lawlessness and so on. So I think in order to not to create sort of our ये जो हमारे जो ज़रात हैं, हमारे देहातों को इतना destitute ना करें कि then हम यहाँ इन शहरों में इन सुकून से ना रह सकें. Ultimately they are going to come and hurt everybody. So this is my concluding lines. Okay, we need to have protection again of this traditional knowledge on which this biological piracy is taking place. We have to protect this traditional knowledge. As we were discussing earlier, there are plans for creating traditional knowledge digital libraries, databases, where this knowledge is codified, documented, and sort of shared with. So we also have to evolve a mechanism for benefit sharing. If you want to come and actually use our biological diversity for whatever material gains you want to, so you have to have respect for the communities, उनको acknowledge करें कि भाई वो ही करें. अभी तक मैं आपको बता दूं कि this is only lip service. These multinational corporations, as we speak, there is not a single incident that they have given compensation to the communities for the knowledge that they draw from them. They have not. And if companies think that they can do it here in Pakistan, I think they are lying. And there is not an iota of evidence to suggest that they are going to take compensation. For instance, as I say at the end, when this plant builder bill was being debated, let me also say over the past 10 years, civil society in Pakistan should be credited for raising this issue of sustainability. There was Sustainable Agriculture Action Group, SARC के नाम से, which were very active. They did a lot of good work. There were people like from Sangi to, God knows, all kinds of organizations involved. But here and now, they have kind of slowed down. They are not realizing what they are missing. So I believe we need to create a constructive engagement across all stakeholders. So we arrive at some understanding of how to cope with situations. In the end, let me say, if we do believe, there are certain pressures. Okay, Pakistan cannot live in isolation. WTO regime can't be, you can't just wish it away. ये रहनी है चीजें, लेकिन अगर रहनी है तो फिर हमने क्या करना? उस हवाले से मेरा ख्याल है इस स्पिरिट में we held this seminar and we look forward to further presentations and discussions. Thank you.